the show, old buddy of mine from Louisiana Pacific days. And,
Yes, sir.
dude, you really, every time your name's brought up, I'm like, this guy had a dream. He made it work, you know?
Yeah, I've always been a dreamer. Even when I was a daydreamer in high school. That's why I sucked at school. Because I never took it serious, and I was always in my own head. And but yeah, man, Hanceville, Alabama, Louisiana Pacific. That was the first real decent job I ever had, and you and I worked there together. And that job was so that saw booth, allowed me a lot of time to think.
Being down there by yourself.
Just being there by myself, and there's actually days I miss how much a long time, because I'm kind of an introvert, and naturally, but it was kind of a perfect place to work if you like thinking and dreaming, and because it gave you a lot of time to do that. It was so loud in there, earplugs and a monotonous job, and but it was a great place to work. But I did have, a big dream, and I did know I didn't want to do that the rest of my life. I learned enough about,
Sit down there and sort boards.
sit there and sort boards all day, and, but that was a little bit more simpler time in life. But yeah, I kind of always had that dream of being around music and doing events, and I was blessed enough to kind of be able to get my opportunities,
Right, yeah.
and be ready for them when they come. I tell my boys that it's like, the chances are going to come. There will be openings. There'll be a lunch you can take with somebody, or a minute where you can invest in something, or try something. It's the people that are ready for it,
right,
when the opportunity comes.
Yeah.
Like Rock the South was an idea I had for probably 10 years before the tornado came.
I knew you were always wanting to have like
a country festival.
Yeah, like a Woodstock for country.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Bring in these top names.
But after the tornado, it just kind of opened up that moment where we were able to do it, But yeah, just being ready for it, and kind of preparing yourself for it, when the moments do come. And even in a factory, you're working at a factory, the moments and the opportunities come,
Oh,
along.
Yeah. That's why, with me and you, I think that's one thing that really made and you like spark.
Yeah.
Was music. I mean, it was
no doubt about it.
I mean, that was what I always loved music. Music was always kind of a gateway to me, I guess. It was like,
well, you're listening there. Was it 2000?
It would have been, I graduated in 2002, so it would have been around 2003, I think, something like that.
Yeah. I started there in 98, and, but my mother was a singer, a little Southern gospel singer, and my brother was a guitar player, and I was a drummer in high school band, so music has always been in my life.
Yeah.
It's something I love. I love gospel music, I love Christian music, I love rock music, I love country music.
See, I'm
classic rock.
I jump around like crazy.
I can listen to Springsteen or Biggie. It doesn't, I'm all over the map, when it comes to music. But I love it. I'm just a connoisseur of it, and I love bringing people together. And music is really one of the best ways I feel like to get people to come together.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. No matter what people agree or disagree on, music, I feel like everybody loves music.
They do. And not everybody loves concerts, not everybody loves festivals. If you don't believe that, just hop on Facebook when Rock the South comes through town. You hear all the people that dislike it, or the traffic, or the waiting in line and all those things. Yeah, pretty much everybody loves music, and it's there's no greater way, I feel like, to find a common place with other people than a concert.
Right.
It's the one moment where we all agree on something.
Yeah.
In a world that doesn't agree on much of anything anymore. When you're standing in front of Pearl Jam and you're sitting around other people who were raised in the 90s, and like you look around, it was like a family reunion of people that are all there with one mindset, at a church concert, you look around, you see people who all agree, and it's powerful. You know, you go to a football game, you go to an Auburn game or an Alabama football game, everybody's there, same reason.
Right,
And it feels powerful, and it's because there's unity, and that is what I live for, man.
Oh man, I've hugged grandmas and everything at football games. That's Auburn scored or something.
Oh,
It's like
100%.
everybody does. You're right. Everybody becomes family when
They
it's
do.
like that.
It's special. But no, you know, just to this, how I got started is, you know, what's funny, and I tell people this all the time, my first contact in the music industry was a salesman that came in to Louisiana Pacific.
Really?
So, you know, I worked my way into the supply room
Mm-hmm.
at the factory.
Yeah.
And just because the lady got pregnant, you know, Miss Nelda got pregnant,
Okay.
you know, and opened up a position for me to be able to come into the supply room while she was having her baby. And then after she came back, they didn't want to let me go because I was handling things, and I guess me and Chief became buddies, you know, the boss, you know. But he, you know, I didn't leave. It was 2 or 3, 4 years after, I think, you know, she came back, I still stayed in there and got to know all these salesmen that would, you know, come in there to sell the factory, either belts or chains or motors or, you know, grease or whatever. And a chain salesman from Nashville came into that factory. I became friends with him, and he gave me my first contact in the music industry.
Who was the first one?
The first contact was a guitar player. He used to be in a Christian band that had broken up, but then he went to work for Tim McGraw. So I took the phone number from the salesman, called this guy who was his brother,
Right.
and he said, "Hey, you know, your brother told me to call you. I'm trying to get into the business. He told me to call you. You'd be willing to tell me, you know, a couple things maybe that could help me." And I just cold called him, you know, kind of go against my personality to call somebody I don't know and asking them to help me.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
You know, even with this podcast, there's a lot of people I don't know that's contacted and
Totally.
stuff. You know.
So you're cold calling people you don't know, and you're telling them you want to be in this business, and you're worried you're going to get on their nerves or just whatever. But, you know, I told him why I wanted to get into the business, and he said, "Well, I'm on tour right now with Tim McGraw. I'm his guitar tech, you know, and I tell you how I got in the business." So he did, and he told me about who helped him, and he gave me another phone number. So I called that number, which led to more numbers, you know, which led to lunches in Nashville with people, and eventually a guy who was really well known in the business took a liking to me and invited me into his home, you know, a couple, 2 or 3 times, and let me stay there with his family on the weekends as he's just telling me everything he knows about the business.
Right.
And which led to me booking my first band, and because he taught me how to do it, you know. And you'd be surprised, I tell people all the time, you'd be surprised how many people who have been successful would be willing to tell you how they became successful.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people want good for others.
They do.
Yeah. They
Especially people who are grateful, you know, that they've had success. And
well, it probably took somebody helping them.
no
You
doubt,
know, I mean, like it.
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Nobody, there's no self-made anybody.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you really need like help.
Grandma, dad, neighbor, youth pastor, somebody helped you.
Right.
High school teacher, somebody invested in you. Nobody becomes who they are, you know, alone. And you know, I had a lot of people, you know, so many people, high school teachers, youth pastors, my grandmother, my late brother, there's countless, like so many people. My life story is almost like a Hoosiers movie where, you know, there's all these redemption stories of people. You look back at all the people that helped, and, you know, Rudy, you know, and
Yeah.
it was his friend who passed away, who really encouraged him to go chase his dream. And my brother passing away was a big catalyst for me chasing my dream, not giving up when something gets hard. But yeah, so many people helped me. The factory there helped me. It, you know, gave me a steady job. I was able to start my family. support my child, on the money I made there, which wasn't much.
No,
Which wasn't much, but it was enough, and it gave me a job. And everybody in that factory knew that I was pursuing that dream.
Oh yeah, they were very supportive.
They were.
They would tell you all the time, hey, if you think you can better yourself, or if I could help you, or whatever. LP was really, it was full of a lot of great people.
Great people.
It
A lot of
was.
them have passed away, since you and I were there.
Yeah.
But even Kevin Campbell, who was my boss at the time, I would say I would put Kevin there with, with the top people in my life that lit a fire under me.
Mm-hmm.
When he challenged me in front of a bunch of people and said, when are you going to stop talking about it, and when are you going to do it? Kevin, he's he thinks
Straight
something,
up.
he's going to straight up tell you
Right,
black and
yeah.
white.
And he wanted to see you do good.
And he did.
Yeah.
No question. Kevin, he was for me and for me winning, and pushing me, and he was a big inspiration for me. And I tell him that all the time. He knows how I feel about him. But so many people, that first contact, like I said, it led to a bunch of other contacts until I finally landed on a band that I felt like I could take that, $5,000 that I had saved up,
Right.
to put on a band, and kind of lay down my first deposit on a band. And I was lucky and blessed enough that it was a band that was about to explode. It's almost like buying Apple stock before they put the MacBook out.
Right, yeah.
It was Casting Crowns, and they were still independent at the time, and then they get a record deal, and they write their songs and put the record out, and then I was with them at the time. My first concert, the very first concert of my career, was a double sellout, so 2 shows in a day.
Really?
It was a double sellout. They did a matinee show. The first show sold out so fast, and that was honestly, I would just say this: if I could pat my, if I could pat 19-year-old, 20-year-old Shane on the back, I would say, well done for doing the research, for asking questions, for not just diving into it. Prior to that, I dove into a lot of things, tried a bunch of things, but for this time, I was at a place in life where I was like, I gotta get this right. If you got $5,000 in the bank, you can't afford to make many mistakes.
Right, yeah.
But I had done my
Hard-earned money.
Hard-earned money.
Yeah.
And $5,000 at that age, and in Hanceville, and whatever, it was everything that I had at the time. But I knew I had to get it right. And then even my best friend Jared Jackson, who's a youth pastor and just a regular incredible guy, tells me I should book this band. You should book them. I know they're going to be big. And it's funny enough, Jared has told me about many bands over the years. It's kind of my secret sauce, about some of these bands. And but yeah, it was just countless people that got me to that first place where I could take that first chance and then sell out 2 shows in a day. And my little company that I'd set, started out, Real Life Promotions, was my first company.
Now you're still doing that, aren't you?
I am.
The Real Life. That's
No, Real Life. Well, no. So Real Life was my first company, and because before my brother got killed, he told me before he met God, he thought he had life. He said, but now that I've met God, now that I've found God, he said I have real life.
Yeah.
And so I named my company Real Life Promotions, and
that's powerful.
Yeah, it was powerful, man.
Yeah.
I still love that name. And Premier Productions bought me out when I was 26. So I left the factory. I built my little company up, started doing a bunch of shows, and I found, a few other new bands, like a guy named Chris Tomlin and Jeremy Camp, and so many bands that just were on the cusp of exploding. I was lucky enough, there was a whole wave of artists that were coming in, and I was able to get on them early and turn it into more opportunities. And then Premier Productions called me and wanted to buy me out, wanted to make me their partner, and these were 2 legends in the industry. I was very aware of who Premier Productions was, and
I imagine your hand was shaking on that phone.
couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I honestly thought that they were calling because they were mad, because I had found a lot of those bands, and kind of beat them to the punch.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, here's this hungry, early 20s, kid that, was really paying attention and going to shows and talking to independent bands and just grinding, and they kind of, they'd had it dialed in. They were the big boys for a long time, and I was just beating them to the punch, which that's another piece of encouragement I would give you is caring and having a deep interest in something is sometimes a really big advantage.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Where you saw potential in these people before they actually made it big. Like it was like, I can sell this out.
Yeah. Which has become, honestly, my gift, my true gift. I feel like the gift that God gave me is vision, and seeing things early. Even as recently as jumping on a new artist named Zach Bryan.
Everybody is talking about him.
Everybody's talking about Zach, and we put him on sale last week in College Station, Texas, for a brand new event, similar to Rock the South, but probably even more like the Auburn Rodeo that we own.
Yeah. I've been in the Auburn Rodeo. That's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes, that is.
Craziness. But we launched a similar event to that last week in College Station and sold it out in 3 days.
Really?
33,000 tickets with Zach. But we were booking him 3 years ago and very few people knew who he was. And so being able to jump on things early and seeing that has been a gift that, I feel like I've had. And it's been a big part of, our success. Even jumping on Morgan Wallen early and little people, few people know this. But we did the very first concert for a new artist right now named Bailey Zimmerman that's exploring 2 #1 hits. Rockin' a Hard Place is his new #1 song in the country right now. His very first show was Rock the South in Coleman. Last night I was watching American Idol, and there's an artist on there named Haven, a little blonde-headed 17-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Her dad is a guy named Jason Roy. And Jason used to be a part of a Christian band called Building 429. And Building 429 got signed on my stage in Coleman, Alabama at Youthquake.
That's what I was trying to think of. Because Youthquake, y'all do, it's kind of basically the same format, but it's Christian bands, but it's like bands. Y'all have a bunch, right?
Oh, my company does more Christian concerts than any company in the world.
Right.
So we'll do, several hundred, probably over 1,000 Christian concerts with bands like Elevation and Hillsong and, countless, Mad City and you name it. We did all the first shows for Lauren Daigle, which is another artist I feel like we really got on early before anyone else did. Lauren Daigle's on top of the world now. So yeah, it's having a deep interest, really, looking underground and looking for trendsetters who understand who's next.
Right.
The college kids right now are really deciding who's the next big artist, and they're the ones that raised up Morgan Wallen. The college kids are the ones that raised up Zach Bryan, Co Wetzel, Parker McCollum. These bands are becoming popular through college students who are kind of raising up that new next thing, which is very much what college kids like doing.
Yeah, I remember like some of these new bands and stuff coming in, like Creed, back when I was a kid. It was like, why only one album? Pretty much, it's like, I want you to stick around. Matchbox 20. I feel like they didn't last very. And
what's fun? Well, Matchbox, they had 2 or 3 records, and it's there's a lot of one-hit wonders in the '90s for sure. But I was a big Pearl Jam guy, and
Pearl Jam is one of my top 5.
Yeah,
I love Pearl Jam. Me and Whitney was talking about this the other day. I was talking about concerts, and I said I'd go to a Foo Fighters concert right now. I'd go to Pearl Jam.
Green Day, Chili Peppers.
Yeah, see, I love Chili Peppers too. Yeah, a lot of those bands are still touring, aren't they?
Big time. Yeah, they're selling a lot of tickets.
Yeah, they are.
Because people, they're mine and your age now.
Right. Yeah.
And they got money, and they just get a babysitter and they go watch them and buy VIP tickets and get the T-shirt and enjoy the whole thing. Bring your friends. So no, we're actually in the midst of building a rock festival as we speak.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be the bands like you know, Chili Peppers and Foo Fighters and bands like that.
I will camp out for tickets for that, like the old days.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I mean, like, there ain't no doubt about it.
But
You
no,
know, people too, a lot of people complain about like ticket prices and all that, which you know as well as I do. When me and you were 17, 18 years old, you wasn't able to just pull that thing up on your phone or
No.
computer, burn your own CD, none of that kind of stuff. You went and bought their CD.
yes,
You know, I mean, you gotta imagine, basically you took that away.
you did.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand how people, the tickets and stuff are so expensive nowadays.
Yeah, they don't make much money anymore on records.
Mm-mm. No.
Touring is how they make most of their money, and so, you know, yeah, there's a lot of talk right now about ticket prices, ticket fees,
Mhm.
and things like that. But you know, as long as people are buying them, you know, then they're not going to change it.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
I wouldn't.
No, I
You know.
wouldn't. No.
So you know, but yeah, we try to keep our ticket prices affordable, and you know, but there's some tickets that are just more than others. You know, Rock the South's first year, I think our tickets were $15,
Really?
and now they're
$15.
$150. You know?
And y'all started that, okay, so 2011, we had the tornadoes, tore up everything in Coleman. That's where it started, correctly?
Rock South.
Right,
Yes.
yeah. That's when it started, was, you did the free concert at, Casting Crowns?
Yeah.
came?
So the tornado hit on Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember, but yeah, so that Sunday, yeah, the tornado had hit. Everybody's working to keep the city alive.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
It was crazy.
It was just, yeah, it was a disaster.
Anarchy. There were, you know, but people came together in a unified way, maybe like we never have.
Mm-hmm.
The people delivering ice, the people who need to keep their medication cold.
Right, yeah.
You know, formula and milk and things for babies, and you know, like the grocery stores that knew their food was going to go bad anyway were giving their meat away so people could have something to eat. Churches were working together. It was a beautiful time.
It really was. And like such a disaster, we did it, we came out of it. But I mean, it was like a team, like it was so many. I was at my grandmother's house and somebody pulled in and said, "Hey, we're from the church, we got chainsaws, you need some help?" I'm like, "No, I mean, I appreciate it, man.
Right.
But there's probably somebody else that needs more help, you know,
Right.
because." And
Because all of us knew how to cut a tree down.
right, yeah.
But yeah, it was a beautiful time, you know, and the mayor of Coleman literally called me and said, "Hey, you know, the churches are all working, we don't have power, we don't have cell phones, you know, people are working really, really hard." He said, "And this Sunday that's coming up, the people are going to need a moment to rest."
Right, yeah. Kind of clear your mind of
Clear your
everything
mind.
that's going on.
It's that whole, you know, even God rested that day.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and so anyway, you know, and he said, would you do something at the fairgrounds on Sunday to bring all these people together, to have just a moment of worship, coming together, supporting each other, and then we go back to work after that.
Right.
And so I started calling up some friends, Casting Crowns, real,
Yeah.
real full circle moment. Band I started my career with, came back to my hometown, right after a major tragedy, and we did a show and did an event that Sunday. We were able to get generators, and you imagine how hard it was to get a generator in the South after a major tornado. Generator came from Ohio, stage came from Kansas. All these different things came together so we could do this event. Casting Crowns came for free. We raised enough money, I think, to rebuild the Red Cross building that was taken down. So yeah, it was a special, special moment, and that was really where Rock the South birthed right there.
Right.
Because it was, you know, just like you said, it was people came together like never before, and you know, we like to think in the South that if all hell broke loose, we're all gonna come together.
Right, yeah, we would be able to, I feel like we would be able to make it.
We'd be able to make
honestly,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean and I think we would if something else happened, you know, and we would bond together and protect our neighbor, protect each other, be there for each other, and you know, so anyway, and then a year later, you know, so we did an event on the anniversary of the tornado.
Yeah.
Which was April 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first Rock the South was on April 27th, a year later.
So 2012.
2012.
Yeah. Okay.
And, you know, I told our guys, if we're gonna do this long term, we probably need to get out of tornado season. You know, be a smart thing.
Around here, yeah,
Exactly.
you can't plan nothing.
No, not in
No.
April.
I mean, no, and like right now, it's what, 55 degrees
It's
outside?
too cold, it's rainy, you know, it's just a horrible time to do a concert.
Spring here is unpredictable.
Wildly.
Yeah.
So the next year, we went to 2 days. We made it a 2-day festival. In 2013, you know, we moved it to the summertime and try to make a normal festival out of it. Multi-day, big artists, normal tickets, VIP, all that stuff.
Right.
And so in 2013, it kind of started to become more of a traditional country music festival.
Right.
You know, and you know, kind of honoring local charities, people helping people. That's one thing that every single year we're trying to honor the people that help people every day.
Right.
So that's kind of what that tornado was.
I don't know if there was anybody in Coleman County that wasn't affected somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, with the tornadoes, it might have been your grandmother, it might have been a
Somebody.
friend, or yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, that was just so. It was just catastrophic because there was so, you know, it was 2 tornadoes through the same area almost, and
And it hit our downtowns. It hit the heart of our communities.
yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
And that, so it became real, you know, and we knew about it a week before it came. I mean, the meteorologists they saved a lot of lives.
Oh yeah, they did. They did.
We knew about this thing way in advance. People didn't go to work that day, people didn't go to school that day, and it didn't take really many people by surprise.
Right.
We had plenty of warning. The ingredients of a major storm was obvious to those guys.
And you know, if they wouldn't have done anything, you would have had people that would complain about it.
Oh, you know they would.
That drives me crazy with
Oh,
the
yeah.
weatherman.
Yeah.
James Spann could say, hey man, it's gonna be 62 degrees tomorrow, sunny. If it's 58, these people are
Yeah.
like, oh my God, man, I thought I was gonna get to go play golf. And you know what I mean? It's like,
Totally.
dude, it's weather.
It's weather, and they're doing the best they can.
That's right. I'd rather them blow something out of proportion than I had to get blown away.
Me too,
Yeah.
100%. You know, so, you know, but since then, we've given away over $1 million to charity. It's now one of the 3rd largest country music festivals in America.
That's what I was gonna ask you, because I knew it was the biggest one around here.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And y'all have, how much in attendance do you think? I mean, like, per night, what are y'all?
per night it'll be over 30,000, you know, so for the weekend, it's
Around 100.
100,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be, every state's typically represented in the country. So
Yeah.
all 48 states, we typically have really all 50, and then 6 or 8 countries, you know, Germany and you name it. We've had them from all over the world, you know, come to Coleman, Alabama.
That's huge, dude.
It's
I'm
nice.
proud of you. I mean, I'm like, man, this guy, like, he done it.
Well, you know, that,
I know you had help and stuff, but I mean, you had the heart to like go after it and make it work. I mean, that's what.
thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I mean, you did. I've been sitting with you at the sideline for a year, like, if I could get these tickets, okay, so the tickets would cost me, you know what I mean? Like, just really,
Figuring it out.
yeah, and you were probably, what, 23 maybe? 22, 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just,
My first shows like local, just, you know, the story I just told, there's even like a few years before that of just doing little small 50 people here, 100 people there, and just dialing it in.
Yeah.
You know, Casting Crowns was my first big chance, but I had done a lot of things at the Dodge City Civic Center and the Good Hope, you know, little tornado shelters and things like
Right,
that. You'd
yeah.
never dream. And Adelaide, I don't remember from when I brought that little rock band to the Coleman High School.
seems like I do remember that,
Yeah.
actually.
Like
Yeah.
600 or 800 people, and that was at the time was probably one of my bigger events. And then I did a See You at the Pole rally with Kevin Derryberry and Rick and Bubba and David Nasser and all these people, and sold out it was a free event, but we packed out the civics or the theater at Wild
Wow.
State. So there's just a lot of different things, you know. And if you have a dream, you know, do it.
Yeah, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Even if, and I would say action, like just do it on the smallest level.
Right, yeah.
You know, don't think you have to quit your job. I mean, I was a promoter and I was doing some massive concerts even when I was working at Louisiana Pacific.
Right, yeah, I knew that, yeah.
Before
like Randy Travis. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Randy Travis wanted to do a church tour. He gave us some of those shows, and I was doing Casting Crowns arena tours, and I got Third Day at the time, and Mercy Me was exploding. We got to do a lot of their stuff. So, you know, look, I had a lot of opportunities, and before I wanted to give up that job at the mill, I had my insurance, I had a good job, and, you know, I was working during the week, so concerts on the weekend, you know, so it was, but, you know, a lot of people think they got to have this big break first.
Right, yeah.
But just get started. Even, I don't know what the dream that people may have is, but it's like just volunteer.
Right, yeah, just go and check it out.
Be around it.
Right, yeah.
You know, my original dream was to be a drummer in a rock band. You know, I'm a drummer. I wanted to be in a band. But then it turned into, maybe I can just be around it.
Right, yeah, because you love it.
Because I love it.
Yeah.
And then I learned actually maybe love this more than I did drumming, you know. But it's go intern, go work for somebody for free, you know, just be around your dream. It may never turn into a full-time job.
Right. Well, it probably wasn't meant to be if it was.
Right.
If it's not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That was a passion you always had.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was like all, I mean, I remember, that's one thing about you, dude. It's like, this dude was eat up with music and making it work. You know what I mean? Like,
and I wasn't gonna, you know, my attitude was, I'm just not gonna say no. I'm gonna get to be around it. I want to do it no matter what. Say, like I say, somebody wants to be a pro fisherman.
Right.
Well, you may not get to quit your job, but you go fishing.
Oh yeah, you can still be recognized.
Go fish.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Doing local, you know, do the thing that you love. This life is way too short to not do something that you love.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
That's what with this podcast, and I have had so much fun with this.
Well, your personality is perfect for this.
I appreciate that. I just love talking to people.
Yeah.
You know that.
You're good at it.
I'm a blabbermouth.
Well, but that's you need to be a blabbermouth.
Yeah, that's what it takes, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, like I said, it's been fun. You know, I feel like I'm still getting started. There's so many things I want to do. So many bands that there's so many promoters that are way bigger than me.
Right, yeah.
The Live Nations and the AEGs, they're big boys. They're the big boys. They're the Walmart, the Disney of our business.
Right.
And, you know, I'm trying to grow my business. I want to work with any of these bands, you know, and if we can help grow them from nothing, we can work with them when they're at their
See, that says a lot about you too, because you're pouring a lot of faith into somebody that hasn't made it big yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got an ear for it where you're like, man, this band's good. I mean, like, this is, I'm going to get these guys while I can.
Yes.
You know, and then they'll always respect you for it. Because they're like, Shane Quick had faith in me, man, when nobody else did. Or, you know, we were kind of small, and he brought us rock the South, and, you know, look at us now. Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, I was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi a year ago, maybe, and Bailey Zimmerman came up to me and said, man, you know, Rock the South is my first show. He's like, thank you. I can't wait to do more shows with you.
Right.
You know, yeah, there's a loyalty I feel like that's built. You know, when you do believe in people early, when you invest early and you believe before anyone else does. That is something I probably love as much as anything, is to be an early believer in somebody.
Right, yeah.
And it doesn't have to be an artist, man. I want to believe in my employees early. I want to believe in, you know, some kid that tells me that, you know, I had a girl call me the other day, said I spoke to the school, or my son's high school, and somebody gave her my number, and, you know, I was telling about chasing your goals. She's like, hey, I want to be an ESPN reporter. You know, she's a junior with, you know, she's in class with my son, and she said, I want to be an ESPN reporter. Can you tell me anybody that could help me become that? And she wants to be a sideline reporter for ESPN. And I said, well, there's a girl named Leah Waldrop, and lives in Coleman, worked for ESPN, and she was on the sideline. Here's Leah's number.
Yeah.
Now Now, what if that girl didn't have, you know, the bravery to call me, you know? It's people like that typically end up doing the job that they want,
Right.
and doing the dream that they want to do. Is having the, courage to pick up the phone and make that first phone call.
It's tough. I mean, like,
It is.
yeah, it really is. Like me even trying to get you on, me and you being friends, and, we don't talk on a daily basis or nothing, but
Yeah,
hell, you're my buddy. You know what I mean?
always will be.
And like, I'm trying to get Butterbean at some point on here,
That'd be awesome.
and a lot of people's like,
Does he still live in Jasper?
yeah, he's got his restaurant and stuff.
That's
And I actually put something on Facebook about it, and you would not believe the people that message me and stuff. It's like, hey, I got a friend that's friends with his son. Hey, I go out there and eat once a week. Hey, I'll talk with him.
Put it into the world.
Right, yeah.
Put it into the atmosphere of, I want Butterbean on this show.
That's right.
I want to work with Luke Combs. I want, whatever the thing is, tell somebody.
Right, yeah.
You
There's
never know.
so many people that will help you. This world too, man, it's connected. Like somebody,
Yes.
and then I mean, like it's like I could go to you and be like, "Hey, man," and you might have even been sitting here and known Butterbean. It's like, "Oh,
Right.
man, I can give you a cell phone. I'll call him for you." You know what I mean? Like around here, man, it's a very close knit kind of thing.
And I think the world's that way.
Yeah, I do too.
I think if I hadn't felt so comfortable with that first salesman from Nashville that came to the factory to tell him my dream of being in the music industry, he would have never realized, oh, my brother does that. Let me give you his number, and handed me his number. And then that started a chain of events that got me into the music industry.
Right.
But it took me to tell him one day in that little office, I want to be in the music business. Saying it out loud. I always tell people, like, where you are now is connected to where you want to go.
Right. Yeah.
The people around you right now. So but if the people that keep it bottled up and never tell anybody typically don't end up doing what they dream to do.
Right. Yeah.
You have to tell other people because they're willing and ready. And like you said, I could have easily had Butterbean's number.
Right.
I bet you I know somebody that does. I know a lot of people in Jasper.
Yeah, that's what I put on Facebook. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's got to be somebody that knows Butterbean that can get him on the show.
That.
Like, then, and that's just talking about like the connection, people helping you. I mean, I had a buddy from high school that I ain't talked to in 15 years. He messaged me and said, "Hey man, I can ride him or whatever, and I ended up getting his number just a couple hours later,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people out there that's willing to help if you ask. You know what I mean?
Put it out there.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable enough.
Right.
Share it, and you just never know when it may happen. I love writing down goals. I love new goals. I love writing them down and then watching them happen. Because just putting it out into the world, I wanted to launch a new festival at Texas A&M. I read a couple years ago that it was about to be the largest college in America, 75,000 students.
What are they got one of the biggest stadiums too.
It's huge.
Home of this 12th man.
Yeah, the 12th man, the Aggies, and we're doing the Auburn Rodeo. I started to I want to do this idea in other cities. I know that college kids want to come together and have a big country frat party.
Right,
And that's really what those things are. And I read about College Station and how it's going to be the largest college in America, and I thought that's where we need to go. Texas, 75,000 students, 1 hour from Houston, 1 hour from Austin, Texas. It sounds like a perfect place to do a festival.
Right, yeah.
2 years later, I've got Zach Bryan, hottest guy in country music right now, playing it, and we sell out in 3 days. We sell out a larger festival than Rock the South in 3 days. But it started a few years ago by just saying it out loud, telling my team, I want to do a show there, and we started working on it, and the opportunities just, presented themselves. But, I've been super lucky. So many people have helped me. I now want to be that. I want to be the one helping people.
Well, you've helped out a lot. Talking about giving $1 million to charity. That's what a lot of people, it really gripes me to death to hear people complaining about the traffic for one weekend. It's the traffic, it's this, it's that. Well, people don't really think about it like this. Okay, I know hundreds of people that's been to Rock the South.
Yeah.
Okay, they've all got a new cowboy hat on. They've got a cowboy bill. They've got brand new boots. I know some people that skateboarders, they go out and buy a full.
Turn into a cowboy.
They look like John Wayne. That's supposed to walk in this thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
So you got to think about all these local businesses
Oh
that's
yeah.
getting they're selling all this kind of stuff. Even a gas station.
Oh yeah.
Somebody stopping by the gas station. They're gonna drinking a few beers before they go in, or what?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think. Rock the South is probably one. It's huge as far as like
Income.
growth. Yeah, the income
Yeah.
and stuff around here.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain it, but I mean, it's like you can't. Nothing else does that.
No.
If you can't suck
Not
it up,
one single thing.
right?
No,
Yeah,
there's
no,
not
no.
one weekend that brings in that kind of money. You know, we were told last year that the economic impact was over $20 million.
Really?
So now adding a third day to the festival, and it's going to be bigger than ever. It's going to be closer to $30 million in economic impact.
$30 million.
$30 million.
And you would complain about the traffic over a weekend.
You know, I'll say
That
that.
gripes
I'm
me.
glad you brought that up.
That gripes me to death.
Because that's just life. You know,
yeah.
It's you know, you're always going to have people, especially on social media. You know,
Man.
social media is the
Facebook.
the perfect place for people to gripe and complain without any consequences. You know, I've never had anybody come up to me and sit down with me over, you know, a coffee or whatever, a beer, and be like, hey, listen, I want to talk to you about how agitated I am about the parking at Rock the South or the traffic. You know, that's an adult conversation,
Right,
that,
yeah.
you know, and but I've learned that, you know, I'll say this: I'm a true people pleaser. I want to make people
It
happy.
bothered you. I know it bothered you.
It bothers you, and people get nasty too. You know, there's a few people they'll just go really nasty with it, and they'll question. You know, I always used to say this: it doesn't bother me for people to question what I do. That doesn't bother me, because a lot of people don't like festivals.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people don't like music, you know, the music or concerts, whatever. But when you question why somebody does what they do, that bothers me.
Yeah, that would me too.
It hits you in the soul, hits you in the
Yeah.
heart, you know. And so over time, you know, I've learned to build my circle really tight. And, you know, I've got the people in my life, obviously like my wife and my two boys, but people like Krista DeBrule, you know, who she was my best woman in my wedding, you know,
Yeah.
and my buddy Jared, and, you know, small group of people that I know that love me, you know. Now, if they called and said, this is wrong, or this, you know, I'm going to listen to that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
know
know.
you would.
But here's kind of my general rule. If you don't know my son's birthday, I'm not going to give a damn about what you think about my career.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know my family, if you don't know where I came from, you know, I can't really let that slow me down.
Right.
I can't
No.
let that. I've got too many things I want to accomplish.
Well, I think you would have the people that love you and the people that don't love you. I mean, I'm thinking
oh,
it would be way lopsided.
That's the truth.
There's so many people that's behind you
That's the
that
truth.
knows your story like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
It's
true.
like, I've seen this guy at LP on shutdown day, and me and him look like we walked out of a coal mine.
Right.
Like that means a lot to me that somebody worked for what they got.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you too, and I heard somebody say this the other day. It really hit home in a big way, because that philosophy, that tight circle, that's something I have to do all the time.
Right.
Because you get, like I said, you get distracted by people who like you or don't like you, and you care too much about that. But I heard this quote the other day. It said, in my next 30 years, I want to care more about and give more attention to the people who do love me versus the ones who don't.
No. Yeah.
Because there's too many people that do. Like I said at the beginning of this whole talk here, I've had a lot of people help me get, you know, to where I am today. And it is on their backs and it is on their shoulders that I stand. And it is a handful of people who want to gripe and complain. And a lot of those people are just not happy with their own life.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's
Some people, if they're not complaining,
yeah.
I mean, they don't. Yeah, I know people, man, that would complain about, you could hand them a gold brick and it's too heavy.
It's too heavy. They don't know how to put it in the bank.
No,
You know?
if you would have took that concert and you would have took that thing to Birmingham, do you know what the talk would have been? He was from Coleman. I can't believe he's taking all that money to
Right.
Birmingham.
Exactly. You know, he should have brought that here.
It's a double-edged sword. Hey, he's from Hansville.
Exactly.
And now he's making Birmingham all this money, or Huntsville or somewhere. It's like,
Literally every
suck it up. It's a weekend a year.
one weekend a year, and it's you know, I always say this too. It's like if there's a restaurant that comes to town and you don't like the kind of food they sell,
Don't eat there.
don't eat there. You know?
That's pretty.
Like nobody cares, and people don't normally talk about that, but because it's a concert, I think a lot of times people feel like they have to have an opinion, but that's fine, and they do. And like I said, it doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes, because we have, and we try to correct them, you know. But that is life, you know. And I think a lot of your listeners can identify with that. Is that you probably got a very tight group of people that you know truly love you, know who you are, and that's your people that you value. Doesn't mean you don't let other people in, or maybe doesn't mean you don't love everybody. But as far as that tight circle of people, that when they come to you with constructive criticism, to say you should do this, or you know you're slipping here, or you should do a better job, then listen to those people. Don't get your advice from Facebook.
Yeah, no.
Or social media.
A lot of them people are just sitting up late at night, ain't got nothing else to do.
No.
One of the recent ones that really cracked me up was y'all. I think maybe Coleman Daily might have shared the lineup or whatever for the Rock South. Well, that ain't rock and roll.
Right. Yeah. You know, that it's funny. We've had, I think, you know, we had Greg Allman, we've had Leonard Skinner, Charlie Daniels, you know, some people, Rock and Roll Hall of Famers.
Oh yeah,
you
some
know,
good ones. Yeah,
we've brought, you know, more Rock and Roll Hall of Famers to this area than anybody ever has. People talk about we don't bring rock, and then they say, well, why do you call it Rock the South and this and that, you know? But it's
country music nowadays. A lot of it is rock.
What Hardy's doing is rock, you know. Yeah. Even a lot of what Morgan Wallen's doing. But
it's not the old country. My dog ran away and wife left, and
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Real life. Real life.
It's so true. Like I made a joke one time about Florida Georgia Line. I never lived it down because I really do like Florida Georgia Line.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just a joke.
Right.
It was on my other podcast.
Right.
I got a little grief off of it. I'm like, I don't know where that came from because I love Florida Georgia Line.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like they're one of the upbeat.
Yeah, when Cruise comes on the radio.
Oh man.
You love it. It's like Creed. Everybody acts like they don't like Creed. But you do. Like My Own Prison comes on, you're not going to turn the channel.
Oh Lord, yeah.
You're going to keep letting it play. But no, it's like I said, I've had too many people believe in me and give me a chance, support me, help me when I wasn't worth it. You know, so I don't complain about it. I don't. I've got a great life, and people are just, you know. I can't complain, man. I'm crazy about my dogs and my boys and my wife and Smith Lake, and you know, getting to do what I love. And you know, my brother lived to be 23 years old. I'm 44. You know, and I've lived a pretty lucky life, and I love to work hard, and that's worked out for me. And I love to take chances, and that's worked out for me. But I can't complain about anything. And now, like I said, I'm more interested in how I can help other people, and you know, and how we can keep reaching for the stars. And as long as God gives me breath in my lungs, that I can keep chasing my goals, keep coming up with new goals, you know, and it might be small things, but yeah, I love to chase my dreams. I still do. I've not arrived, you know.
So see, that's good too, because you've got to way up here, but you're still wanting to do more.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a lot of self-motivate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not done. I'm going to keep, you know, doing this.
My wife's that way, you know, we kind of push each other that way. Every week we meet on a Sunday, and we have our family meeting, me and Laura. We've done it ever since we got married. We've never missed a Sunday. And it might be on a Zoom if I'm in another place, or you know, whatever, but we meet every week. We're going to celebrate what we accomplished last week, and we're going to talk about what we want to accomplish this coming week.
Yeah.
What do we want for the boys and what do we want for a marriage? But I'm always just blown away. You know, we wanted to have a very successful meeting with the city of Coleman last week with an idea we were pitching. And it was great. It was a great meeting, and everybody got along well. And I considered that a huge win. That was a huge successful moment. And I wanted to get a certificate of occupancy for one of my tenants in the building, and we got that done. Well, what do we want to try to accomplish this week? You know, we got Auburn Rodeo this week, so I want to sell a bunch of tickets between now and then. We got a goal for that. You know, so goals I think just make life more interesting and more adventurous.
Gives you something to work for, and it's you. You know what I mean? It's not you're doing it for your work or you know somebody else.
Right.
You're doing it for you. Like you've got your own goal set. And
Totally.
yeah, I think it's important. I say that on almost every single. I think everybody needs that one thing that they're after.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you really.
I can't imagine not having that, man.
Mm-mm.
I would go absolutely nuts to think that there's not a building that I don't want to buy, or an artist that I'm not trying to work with, or a goal I'm not trying to accomplish.
Right.
I can't imagine a goalless life where I'm not trying to accomplish something with the time that I have. It literally would drive me crazy.
Yeah. See, that's good. I mean, and you have, man, you've got a lot of stuff in town. But you know what you keep saying? You're like, you know, like talking with you and stuff, and I hope people listen to this and they're like, you know what? I mean, the guy's really trying to do stuff for his town.
Yeah.
Like a lot of your goals are for Coleman itself. You know? I mean, like, hey, how can I give more? You know, maybe I can extend this concert out to 3 days and I can give more. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
you know, it's not so much about like, I mean, you really want Coleman to do good and stuff. Yeah.
I know. I'm here every day, you know, and this is my little corner of the earth.
Coleman,
I love Coleman.
I've
lived in other places and I keep coming back here. We had a house in Nashville. That's where my employees are. Most of my employees are in Nashville. I have a lot here. The majority of my employees are in downtown Nashville. And we had a house there. We kept finding ourselves driving back to Coleman every night because I love it here so much.
I do too, man.
And an ancient idea, you know, this is how, you know, the explorers of the day, you know, you go out and you go to other cities and you see their pizzeria or you see their park or, you know, and you're like, wow, look at those people. They're really enjoying themselves here. You know, you might see a downtown brewery. You know, I love downtown breweries.
I love the stuff at the warehouse district.
Oh, the warehouse
district. Yes.
And the lights and the music and, you know, it's where our people grow up. I want a kid from Hanceville to walk down the sidewalk and you know, in the warehouse district, and Frank Sinatra is singing about New York. And they're like, wow, you know, maybe I can go there one day, you know, and it just inspires them, you know, I love inspiring people. I hope my story does that. I'm a high school dropout from Hanceville, Alabama, who, you know, grew up with drug addict parents and, you know, that did the best they could, but they, you know, their parents were also messed up, and we're all messed up.
Yeah,
you know?
we are. We all got our flaws.
We've got our flaws.
Yeah.
But, you know, but if I can do it, anybody can do it, you know. And if I worked at LP, Jacob, for 9.5 years. 9.5 years. I gave my 20s, almost all of my 20s, to a factory.
That's right.
In Alabama. And now, you know, I have over 200 employees. You know, we own 250,000 square feet of real estate. You know, I say this to brag on how lucky I've been, the people that have helped me, my partners. I have a lot of partners, which partnership, you know, it could be a whole different podcast to talk about one day, finding good partners. But we've been super blessed, man. And, but if I can accomplish those things, then some of the people that listen to this podcast 10 times smarter than me, come from better places, you know, or better education, you know, more connections than I had. You know, I think I come with probably a obsession with things. You know, I will obsess over it until I get it, and leaning on that. I call it the lean, and my wife we've nicknamed this process I go through, call it the lean. And you lean on a wall long enough. It's almost like the pressure in a piece of coal.
Yeah.
And you keep that pressure on it. Those walls will eventually fall. That coal will eventually turn into diamonds. And it's keeping that constant tension and focus and obsession on whatever it is you're wanting to do, and you will accomplish it. The door will open eventually if you sit there long enough. Most people stay so distracted with their cell phones, social media, griping about their situation, to where then they are distracted when that door finally does open. They're not ready for it.
No, they're not, no.
But if you will, like every profession,
gotta work for it.
You gotta work for it. Yeah, it's not gonna, nothing comes easy. I heard a youth pastor tell me when I was a kid one time, he said, God will let you do everything that you can do before he does what only he can do.
Right, yeah. He's not gonna put too much on you when you can't get through it.
Well, when the disciples pulled the fish up, was it Jesus that threw the nets over? No, the disciples. He said, throw the nets. Was it Jesus that pulled the nets back up? No, it was the disciples. But who filled the nets full of fish?
Jesus.
But he let them do their part.
Right. Yeah.
He doesn't do our part.
He just didn't lay a fish out in their lap.
No,
Here.
He let them be a part of it. You read all the miracles. Jesus let the people do their part. And so our part a lot of times might just be showing up on time.
Right.
Or being ready for when the moment does come and believing in that. I think that is our display of faith. That's how we have faith, by showing up, by working hard, and knowing that the moment's going to come where I can do whatever it is I want to do. You may already be doing what you might want to be a stay-at-home mom, or who knows what people's Super Bowl is, My Super Bowl just so happens to be constantly chasing a dream.
Right, yeah. Music.
With anything.
I'm gonna say you made it. I'm gonna say you made it happen though.
I've tried.
You've worked your ass off. I mean, you have.
I get that from, I'll say that my dad is, was one of the hardest workers I ever knew, and my grandmother was the same way. There were a lot of people in my life that valued hard work so much. Like if you were 17 in my house, or 16, but you worked real hard and you paid your own way, my dad let you drink a beer. He didn't care. I always said, I don't think my dad ever made real eye contact with me until I had a job. You didn't get looked at and a hand shook. Like something just changed whenever I'm like supporting myself and had a job. That was just a thing that was birthed into me at a young age. It's like valuing hard work. And I just so happen to get lucky enough to do something that I love that makes me want to get up every day and work. But yeah, man, I would say, I've been super lucky but it is at if people do hear one thing on what I say today, it is you could not feel this. You'd need 5 of these rooms, to take all the human beings that since I was born that put a little bit of investment in me, the David and Teresa Thomases, the Coach Horton, to Paul Anderson, my band director, who made me section leader so I could be in charge of some people and gave me that first piece
of leadership,
personal leadership moment. And then, countless, my ex-wife, Kim, believing in me when no one else did.
Right.
It's countless people that, I'm a product of people believing in me and working hard, and I would say this, that, there's a lot of people that probably believe in you and the people listening, and let them be your inspiration.
Right.
And go find more people that will believe. But if you don't tell them, they can't believe.
They're not going to, no.
You know what I mean? So it's I think the world is full of good people. There's a lot of good in all of us, a lot of bad in us too. but you know, there's a lot of people willing to help you, be a part of your success, be a part of helping you get wherever you want to be. I had a person hit me up today, say, hey, we want to do a concert because there's a lot of kids that go to school hungry every day in the county.
Oh man, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it
Kids
is.
that are going to school hungry. And I said, well, let's don't do a concert. Let's just put it out there. Because I gotta think there's enough people in this community that if they found out there's 200 kids in this county that go to school every day hungry, we're gonna fix that. Let's tell others. Let's make that a big deal, you know. And because I think we'll find that people are good and would want to help and make that go away if they could.
Well, see, even like, you know, talking about that, like, you know, a lot of school, I know a lot of kids with school lunches, that kind of stuff, they're always,
Right.
you know, a lot of people don't have a lot of money and stuff. If you had, let's just say you ran like a campaign and you were like, hey, or a GoFundMe or something, it's like, if you have $10, put $10 down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And you take 1,000 people, you know what I mean? That's a big deal. Yeah, it takes a lot of people, but it's a big reward. You know what I mean? It's like a $10. If you ran something and said, hey, let's say everybody throw in $10 for these kids that, you know, need something to eat or whatever, I guarantee you, man, it would get crazy. You know what I mean? Because and a lot of people have $10 they can spare. I'll go into a gas station sometimes and spend $10 on a drink and a candy bar. You know what I mean? Right, yeah.
It's super easy to do.
And didn't need none of it.
No.
You know?
And I would, yeah, that's the thing is like with these nonprofits, these organizations, a lot of times they don't raise the money they need because they're not telling enough people about it. And you know, organizations like the Link or Coleman Caring for Kids, you know, so many people want to help them,
right?
Because they do great things, and there's a lot of great organizations in our community, you know. But it's putting it out there, letting people know, and you'll be surprised you'll find the good in people that want to help you do.
Oh yeah, you will. Yeah, that's what you know. Even I've seen people on Facebook before trying to bury their dad or somebody. You know, it's like, heck, if you got 638 friends on Facebook, if everybody just gave $10,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's like that make it, yeah. If you have a lot of people to come together, and it didn't really matter how much you gave. Some people might give 50, some people might give $5, but it adds up in the end.
It
you
is.
know,
That's one thing that, you know, this is not really something we ever get out there or tell people about. But since Rock the South in 2011, when we built the festival after a tornado, when there's a major tornado outbreak in a community and it creates a lot of casualties, our office will call that city, like the Arkansas tornado from 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
We buried a young man. We were able to help get a funeral to a 22-year-old boy who did not have burial insurance, who was trying to save his girlfriend. You read about it, you know, in Arkansas, the tree that fell through that house in Arkansas 2 weeks ago. He laid over his girlfriend to try to save her, and the tree ended up killing her.
I heard something about that. Yeah.
So Rock the South here in Coleman, because of the donations and because of support people give to Rock the South, we were able to give that family a full funeral to come together so they could mourn this young man and honor his life, his short life. And that's something that, you know, to be a part of that, you know, with Rock the South is bigger than music, it's bigger than a concert, and it's special. And, you know, getting to be a part of that has been very, very honoring and a big part of my life.
I can tell, like, I guess you'd almost say like the high of having a concert sometimes may not be as high as the high you get from knowing everybody you're gonna be able to help, and
it's big.
you know, I mean, that's gotta be as fun as the concert itself.
It is. No, to see those charities, you know, there's a lot of good. See the businesses that do well, and I had a lady, she's got a boutique in downtown, not even one of our tenants, called me, you know, 3 or 4 days after Rock the South, and she said, I want you to know, the Thursday before Rock the South, it felt like Black Friday in my store.
Yeah.
And she said, thank you, you know, and that's the things. It's the hotels that sell out immediately, you know, and that makes a positive impact on our hotels and taxes and all these things, that people, you know, who live in Nashville and come to Rock the South when they come to Rock the South, they discover Coleman. So they know we got great restaurants and great stores and great downtown and all these
Great
things,
people. Yeah.
parks. So you think when they, a year later or 6 months later, when they're going to the beach from Nashville, they drive through down I-65, they're more likely to come through town now. They're more likely to stop in and go to Dutch's and get the best of it on the plane.
My God.
It's too good,
It really.
But they're more likely to come do those things because of the festival, and for a person that loves my hometown, loves my little, corner of, earth here that all of us get to enjoy, that people discover. They learn about Johnny's Barbecue. They learn about.
When you said that, I swear that was the one that popped in my mind. Was Johnny's
Barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
It tastes like no other barbecue on the planet.
It's just right off the interstate.
Right off the interstate.
Yeah, we do have a lot. There's a lot of good restaurants around here.
A lot of good things, So those are the hidden victories. The things that aren't fleeting, the things that stick, are those moments where you're seeing a business succeed because of it, or people getting a job and get to work it, and the farmer that owns our property who helps prepare that ground every year, and the pride he takes in it. Those are the little small victories that truly makes it all better than, a trophy or a record, breaking a record, or money, any of those things. Those are all good things. It's good to have them, but the things that matter, the things that when you die, that really leave an impact,
right?
On the earth, and not, none of the other things really matter. People is what matters.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. How you're remembered.
No question. Yeah.
I'm always gonna tell everybody. I'm like, I cannot believe he had the name Rock the South had country music.
That's crazy. I did it just to piss people off, really.
Oh, I'm only kidding.
You can't make it easy on them. You gotta, but no, it is something.
I'm gonna complain about the traffic out here in Bayleton.
You should. If it gets bad out here, then something really bad happened.
When that comes through, there ain't no traffic. I can actually take time to walk my ditch, right? Yeah. So I don't have to worry about getting hit by a car. But all right, real quick, I know you're squeezed for time, but this year it's gonna be July.
Yep, late July. Funny enough, I don't even have the dates in front of me. I think it's 2021 and 22. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. July 2021, 22. Chris Stapleton is closing.
Man, I love him. That's one of my favorite country singers.
Chris is, he seems like nobody on the planet, and in the songs and the whole thing. The last night is Stapleton and Cody Johnson.
Okay.
Cody Johnson is exploding, like winning all kinds of awards, new artist, album, song, all these things. True cowboy, true Texas cowboy.
See, that's the way I think about Chris Stapleton. I've said this before too. Like when I hear his music, like Tennessee Whiskey, I just want to go to downtown Nashville.
Oh,
bar hop.
Get some Jack and Coke. Yeah. No, but he's a legacy guy. He's a guy that's going to be around our whole life, I think.
Oh yeah, I like it. With him too. You've had this before, where like some albums, it's like really 3 or 4 songs are like, yes, man, that's the best 3 or 4 songs ever. But like Chris Stapleton, it's every song.
Yeah, they're all you can listen to every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. And it's almost like which Tennessee Whiskey is probably one of my favorite ones, but it's like I love them all. No matter which one comes on, I never change the station.
No, you're not going to. He's that way. So it's Kim and Cody Johnson. Jody Messina's coming, kind of this female artist we all grew up with in the 90s. Riley Green, who's an Alabama boy, that whenever he was an opening artist, another one of those young ones that we caught on the way up.
Riley Green, that grandpa's never died, man. That's one of the best songs. Yeah, I'm catch myself knowing a lot of times I have my earphones in, I'll just keep going back to that song over and over. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
It means a lot to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey Zimmerman's opening for him that night, and then Zach Bryan on Thursday night kind of kicks the festival off. Travis Tritt,
Travis Tritt.
You got a little bit of the old, you got a little bit of the legends, you got some new guys, some local guys, some international guys. The festival probably more than ever, and it's because I think this is the reason why we're breaking every record we have this year. Is there something for everybody?
Right. Yeah.
It's a very wide lineup. It's 3 days of incredible music. People I think seem to have loved the venue. The venue's, it's a kind of an upgrade from the park where you kind of have to tiptoe around everything. And
Right. Yeah.
Nobody wants to break that, the park but this is a festival ground. This place was built for a festival. Now it is, but yeah, the venue, the upgrades, the camping and the parking and all these things. I feel like it's got us in a place to have a really massive year.
Bunch of buses, don't you?
A lot of buses,
Yeah.
trucks, people come from everywhere, and it takes a village. It's a couple weeks to build it. It goes from right now there's cattle out there. It goes from that to a small town, or actually a town twice the size of Coleman, people wise. So
I like that. With the cows are out there now.
cows are out there.
It's like, this is the country, baby.
It is. Oh, they're packing the ground. That's the guy that owns the ground is like, dude, let them do it because that'll make the ground solid when people come out here and like, okay, I guess that's how it works.
I bet you've seen some funny stuff over the years, haven't you?
Too many.
I know when y'all had those.
Some
When y'all had those pools, do y'all still do that, or you have the pools out there?
No, we don't do the pay pole anymore. We took a beating for that online. Just an open pool for festival goers and their dirty feet and all that sort of thing. Just didn't, but there's a misting forest and all these things for people to cool off. This huge shade tree area, or massive shade area, just people can get out of the sun, and bars and restaurants and the whole thing. Like I said,
y'all have a bunch of venues, don't you?
Bunch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's a lot of activations. The sponsor road, the VIP, the front porch. We got a new thing called the Country Club.
Okay.
That's really incredible. It's on our website. Check it out. But it's the biggest year ever. More sponsors than ever, more tickets sold than ever. It's a 3-day event. We just now got to go do it.
Yeah.
It's like your country boy used to say, we got the easy part over with.
Now it's time to go to work.
Now you got to go to work and do it. So got a great team, great group of people, and we're excited, man. It's a good year, and now we just go chase our dreams some more.
Yeah. Well, you've done good, man. I appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy as crap too.
Well, I love being here with you. It's catching up on old times, reminiscing, and
it's been around talking. I appreciate it, brother. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm
no. Proud of you and your family and all the things, man. You're good people, and was honored to be on here.
I appreciate
it. I know you're gonna get Butterbean. I can't wait to listen to that.
I'm going after Butterbean next.
Butterbean. Funny story, I'll end on this. My first Christian show I ever did with Premier Productions after they merged with me. It was up in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, wow.
And the northern part of Michigan. And so I'm working with my new company, my new partners, and said, hey, you got a show in Michigan, you need to fly out there next week. So I did. And it was a little Christian band, I think. It's a little, all like a quartet, female, very contemporary, very female, family friendly type small event, and is in a theater in Flint, Michigan. And we had a intermission during that show. And this venue was a particular venue, had a theater on one end and a coliseum on the other end. And during the intermission of my concert, I was just walking around the building, bored, just looking around, and I went into the Coliseum, and there was a tough man competition happening in there. In the same venue that I'm in, all these people with dresses on and all this stuff. And I walk in there, and there's a tough man competition sponsored by Bud Light, and it was full. And it was full of all these Michigan rednecks. And there's literally fights in the stadium or in the stands. People are fist fighting each other. And I'm in there for 20 minutes, and then they said, now for the main event from Jasper, Alabama, Butterbean. And he came out, and you would have thought it was the second coming of Jesus Christ. Those people in Michigan. I had no idea. I thought that country folk only lived in Alabama or Mississippi or Georgia. But I went up to northern Michigan and realized that country folk are everywhere. And it blew me away. And that's when I learned, that's how I learned about Butterbean.
Who he
Was at a Christian concert in Flint, Michigan, when Butterbean was, brought out. But you'll get Butterbean. I can't wait to see it happen.
I can't wait either, man. That's why, pretty much just about everybody I've asked is kind of, I mean, everybody's schedules are tough. Like yours, I know your schedule's tough and stuff. And I just kind of sit back and I'm like, all right, well, let's do this time or whatever.
Thank you for working with me.
Yeah, man, I love it, dude. I hope you come back. Yeah.
Count on it.
All right, I'm going to next week.
Next week,
Okay.
same time. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Enjoy talking with you. Maybe we can get lunch or something real soon.
I'm all in.